volcanoes, elemental weapons, tanks, and the eternal battle between fire and ice. Let's talk about Fortnite Season 8. Hello and welcome to PlayStation Grenade. It's my favourite time of the Fortnite cycle, the week before the new season begins, and we all get on the hype train and look for signs, leaks and hints behind the future of Fortnite. I've looked through the countless theory videos and kept an eye on those leakers, allowing us to predict Season 8 content. We have a pretty great track record behind us. We've predicted llama-headed characters, zombies, a castle, a completely snow-filled map, overpowered melee weapons, and even a bright pink hamster. So let's see if we can do it all over again. Let's start with what we know 100% by using the loading screens and map evolution to build a storyline. Can you remember all the way back to the start of Season 7? The iceberg hit our beloved island, bringing a snow biome. As the weeks continued, we saw a thawing medieval castle in the snow atop of Polar Peak. As the thawing continued, the Ice King was awakened and attempted to stop his home from melting through a live event. Sadly for the Vanilla Ice Baby King, he was too late, and deep in his dungeon, a new character awakened. His skin resembled volcanic rock, and as we upgraded his attire, the dungeon prisoner was revealed to be the Ice King's nemesis, the yin to his yang, signifying the new battle between fire and ice. If you've seen my Easter egg breakdown of Season 7, you know that I talk about the Lich King story from World of Warcraft, which has many similarities to Season 7 story arc. I'm not going to go through that here, but I do recommend you have a watch of that. But the biggest clues to Season 8 are right in front of our eyes, in the Battle Pass no less. Back in Season 5, a crazy castle spray foreshadowed both the castles at Haunted Hills and now the one at Polar Peaks. The Battle Pass has also foreshadowed character skins like the Wrestler or even the Shark Glider, so we know it's a good place to get hints. Now look at this season's Battle Pass and this unlockable icon. It's of a broken shackle, telling us 2 months in advance that someone would be unleashed during Season 7. And at this point you know that's the prisoner. And from memory, can you think of the only place we've seen this shackle before? It's here in plain sight. It's on the Dark Bomber's boobs. It's on the Dark Bomber's chest. And to compound this, the loading screen unlocked literally next to the shackles depicts the devilish llama and his shackle, but look in the background, it's a volcano. I know it's not set in stone, puns, but the polar opposite of an iceberg must be a volcano, right? This theory looks even more certain with the recent inclusion of earthquakes. As magma attempts to burst through the Earth's crust, it causes movement in the landscape. And judging by the location of all the earthquakes thus far, this spot right here looks like the birthplace of Vinny the Volcano. Yeah, I named him. Get on board. And look at the placement. It would be at the opposite corner from the Ice King. Perfect for 2 team buses to drop at each corner representing their chosen leader or deity. I'm Team Fire King all the way. Who would you choose in the battle of fire and ice? Well, I can actually go deeper into this theory. Are you ready? Have you noticed that Epic Game has its finger on the pop culture pulse? Seasonal events, timing football gear or soccer gear to coincide with key dates in the season. Heck, they even released a dragon pet to coincide with Spyro the Dragon re-releasing. And of course timed crossover events like Thanos' inclusion and the Easter egg for Wreck-It Ralph 2. Well, probably the biggest TV event of the year is about to happen, Game of Thrones Season 8, which begins in April. This series is about White Walkers, who follow a king of ice, known as the Night King. And on the other side of the battle, we have Daenerys, the queen who controls dragons. And without jumping to too many conclusions, dragons breathe fire, right? The book series that the TV show is based on so happens to be called A Song of Fire and Ice. And to perfectly time this, the coming season when it returns will be Season 8. Just like Fortnite, Season 8. This must be too much of a coincidence, but what do you think? And the final point to confirm this theory, those dragon eggs in the castle dungeon have now vanished. They've disappeared. In the TV show, when these bad boys hit fire, they hatch. And what has the prisoner spent the last 3 weeks doing? Unleashing his fire powers. Okay, I'm starting to get hyped. Season 8 could be epic. Of course, let's not put all our dragon eggs in one basket. There's other things to consider. Another highly regarded concept for Season 8 is one of melted snow, a potential flood. Something as simple as the ice cube known as Greasy Grove melting, the area would be flooded instead. And since Loot Lake was ripped apart, the pool of water could be added somewhere else. This would also tie into water-themed skins such as the Divers, the Shark Glider, and this freak of a character, Fish Sticks. He's such a strange inclusion that maybe he would represent a new mechanic in the game, Underwater battles, maybe? The Battle Pass continues to hint at this direction too, with fish sprays and an octopus at tier 84. Looking reminiscent of good old Davy Jones, or maybe we'll see the Kraken in the oceans around the map. Although I love the concept and the great skins people have put forward, like this Poseidon character by Bishbusha, that's a quality name by the way, it seems unlikely to me, mainly because things that travel over to Battle Royale have usually previously been tested in Save the World. The hoverboards, the TV station, the crater, all began life in the Save the World portion of the game. So with this in mind, I jumped back into Save the World for the first time since defeating the Storm King, who by the way was actually Kevin the Cube. I looked for places here that haven't been included in Battle Royale. We have a Wild West location with saloons and rustic vibes, but even though Calamity made it into Battle Royale, her town did not. Well, not yet anyway. And if we remember back a few seasons, a leaker proclaimed that the motel would become a saloon in Season 6. So there are definitely links to both game modes, even though they're a bit convoluted. One of the mechanics added last season in Save the World were these whirlwinds. They were essentially baby tornadoes, hurricanes, cyclones, whatever you prefer. Well, those lovely leakers have noticed a file named Tornado, meaning we could see this happen in Season 8. It's technically already been here when Kevin took the Loot Lake house for a tour of the island, so it won't be a new mechanic, but a returning mechanic. To compound this theory further, take a look at the Week 11 loading screen. The prisoner regains his fire powers, and the flames beside him do appear to be whirling. Come on guys, fire hurricane confirmed, hit the Allie music. Sorry, that was very toxic of me. As we're talking about those lovely leakers though, look at a few things they've uncovered. The map change will affect the colour of Wailing Woods. Everything looks to be brown, sort of burnt. This could back up any of our previous theories. Maybe the ground burns for weeks before the volcano erupts, or maybe the flame tornado first takes out the plant life around Wailing Woods. Both completely feasible. More leaks have shown us where the earthquake will hit in the future, and you've guessed it! Tilted Towers, the most unlucky building site in the world, will return to rubble, unless Epic is trolling us. And I think soon they'll start misleading us to keep a few surprises up their sleeves. Do you mind if I take a quick moment to immortalise these legends on screen? These guys used my supporter creator code, Adamaru, in the shop, and then sent me an image via Twitter. If you want a shout out, I'd be honoured to do so. You guys, you're awesome. Don't change. Midway through the season, two skins released, Paradox and Lace. Did you notice the symbol on their shirts? The figure 8 depicted by a dragon eating its own tail. Is this another coincidence, or is this foreshadowing to the dragons coming in Season 8? To throw a little Egyptian and Norse myth in for good measure, the serpent or dragon eating their own tail is very interesting, and yet again ties into our theories. The original image represents the relationship between the sun god, Ra, and the pact with the god of the underworld, Osiris. Basically, good versus evil, fire versus the dark void of ice. In Norse myth, you know the place where Kratos and Boy have just visited? They have a serpent instead called Jormungandr, who grew so big he could wrap himself around the world twice, just like a figure of 8. This could all be foreshadowing for future narrative. If you remember when the leaker who formerly worked for Epic Games confirmed the inclusion of the Egyptian pyramid, it never actually appeared. Could a future event take us back in time, as the dragon eating its own tail suggests? You know what, I think I'm going down this rabbit hole a bit too much. It's just a logo on a shirt. Get a grip, Adam. Oh, before I forget, what do you think will happen with the hatch bunkers in Wailing Woods and the icy island? I like the theory of a portal between the snow and ice areas. Some people also think we'll get an underground railway. Both sound epic. Epic. So you can take both these ideas.
You crazy mother...
Okay, my last point is so surreal, but it's brilliant. As I'm writing this, a tank has been introduced at the block. Of course, it's a building, not a real tank. But that's my point. I believe tanks are coming. Let me explain. As I've said earlier, I've played a bunch of Save the World to get to the Storm King. Rest in peace, Kevin. During this journey, a key plot point saw us discover a secret bunker, kinda like the ones at Wailing Woods. Inside are these bad boys. Tanks. They are simply too great not to become a real asset in Battle Royale. Fortnite developers have openly stated they wish to include more travel options in Battle Royale to include new fight mechanics. Could a tank be one of them? The asset is already here, it's in place, ready to go, so they just need to foreshadow it some way, like having a big ass tank at the block. I'm likely reaching a bit too far for Season 8, but I personally guarantee tanks will be in Battle Royale one day. You mark my words. Pretty please, Epic Games, or I look pretty stupid right now. Going back into the castle walls, we can see where the elemental gods had their disagreement. The emblem of fire is on the chair tossed to the ground before he was taken to the dungeons. The other chairs have the emblems of earth, wind, ether, and water, or in this case, it's ice. We've now seen the Ice King, and we know about the whereabouts of the Fire King, but what about the other three? Well, the ether would actually link to Kevin the Cube, and the Storm King who controlled reality. But that means we are still waiting to learn of the Earth or Air Kings, or Queens. Come on, equal opportunities for all fictional godlike monarchs. Likely the Air Queen blew the wind to make the iceberg crash. We'll have to see if this narrative is taken forward. It sounds really interesting to earn a full team of deities. We could call them the God Squad. No? Okay. And finally, I'm going to make a big prediction which I cannot back up in the slightest. Elemental weapons. Should our theory about ice versus fire be correct, it's likely the weapons from Save the World which harness those effects will make it into the Battle Royale realm. Epic have tested the fire effects for a few seasons now, with the latest addition those interactive campfires across the world. If the fire tornado has any basis, the flame effect will be present. This will also help with weapon cycling. Have you noticed how the same weapons seem to release often? We have 4 types of shotgun, and we recently got another hunting rifle style weapon. The constant adding of weapons keeps us all on our toes, but this process will be much easier if they include some from Save the World. Even as a limited time mode, these will revolutionise gameplay. So yeah, I think now is the time. Am I onto something, or am I talking utter bollocks? Please let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. My voice is starting to go, so I hugely appreciate your time and I adore having these types of conversations. I'm Adam from PlayStation Grenade. It's been a pleasure as always. I'll see you in Season 8. Use code Adamaru in the Fortnite shop. I need some new underwear. Help a brother out.